Yeah, 1,000 plus damage every attack. This is the one, guys. This is the one. Hello, my fellow time killers. Yes, today I want to go over what I believe to be, or at least what I have personally found to be, the strongest weapon boon build combination in the entirety of Hades 2, and the best part, it's reliable. I have consistently got this, yes, in varying strengths, but the core build online, well, 12 runs in a row now, and it just makes the entire experience both ridiculously fun, because it's a really fun playstyle, but also stupidly powerful. You'll just one-shot most things and absolutely chunk down the bosses in rapid manner, and from a position of very much safety, as it's very slow-mo heavy, very range heavy, and very much dash in and out and evasion easy. I beat Kronos on my 22nd run, which is, obviously nothing crazy, but I am quite happy with it. Don't even have all of the features unlocked yet, no pets or anything of that regard. I've only got 2 Death Defies instead of like the 5 you can actually get, and generally I could be a lot stronger, but it's just not needed with this ridiculously reliable synergy. So, yes, let's get into the core of how you're going to start things off. So, the Sister Blades are the weapon of choice here, primarily because I think they are just naturally the strongest out of them all, though don't get me wrong, they all have their place, and I've had some ridiculous runs on each, but I think if your goal is to get as easily as powerful in a way that will most easily let you beat Kronos, yeah, this is by far the most consistent way that I've found. Outside of their just general moveset being really, really solid, especially that final hit on the quite fast combo, it is the Omega attack where it's at. The ability to teleport behind an enemy and then strike them for big damage. Now, of course, by standard, it costs 10 of your mana and does a decent chunk, though nothing crazy. Even just your regular attack combo will, of course, pump out more DPS. But the thing is, you can spam this so safely. You do it once, you land in the slow-mo, you dash away, and then you're good. It's incredibly hard to actually get hit if you're just playing off a safe in-and-out attack Omega playstyle. So how do we make this as strong as it can be? Well, first of all, let's do our card setup then, or at least the ones that I would highly, highly recommend. You want this, the Sorceress, so when we channel, we get that 2 seconds of slow-mo, so we can precisely aim it without getting hit by projectiles, because they're all in slow-mo. This very much is required. You also want to have this, the Unseen, so we get 2 mana back every second. Even if we don't find any mana regen during the run, this by itself is enough to, well, at least still use it pretty consistently. Though not consistently enough, as you'll see, but it's a good starting point and something you should really have. After that, it is very much preference. Of course, gaining the extra health, your extra mana is great, your Death Defiance is really good, Centaur is also fantastic, and then I would also definitely recommend Excellence, and then eventually Divinity, so the boons that we're after have a higher chance of being better quality, but that kind of applies to everything. Death is also pretty nice if you can activate it, but it's not needed, though it does make the raw damage spikes quite nutty. So with that in mind then, we move on to keepsakes. So the keepsake that you want to start your run with is Beautiful Mirror. You get this by gifting an Aphrodite boon, the Nectar, and she will give you it. The reason for this is the first and foremost boon that we want is one from Aphrodite, and we want to force it as soon as possible into the night, and this is the best way to do that. And after you have got the boon we're about to talk about, then switch to whatever you're comfortable with. Whack on the Knucklebones for the Guardian, or indeed if you have found no mana restoration whatsoever and you're getting to Kronos, then whack on the Silver Wheel, and that will sort you out, as 1,000 mana is more than enough to kill him many times over, even including both phases. Lastly then, when it comes to aspects, the one that you want to have on is the aspect of Melanoid for that backstab damage, as if you aim the attack right, you will go behind them and do backstab damage. If you don't know how it works mechanically, you will appear at the opposite side from when you cast it. So from this direction, because he is facing towards us, and what a glow up this Skelly boy has had, we will appear behind him and get backstab damage. However, if I do it while he is facing away from me, we'll appear in front of him and not do backstab damage. So that is worth keeping in mind when you position and use it. So let's go on to what you're actually looking for, boon-wise. And indeed, I will just start this run real quick in the off chance that I immediately get lucky and can show you it in action. We get the Aphrodite because of the beautiful mirror, and let's see what she has for us. This is my run after killing Kronos for the first time, so it's nice to get the praise on that. And look, there we go, instantly. Flutter Strike. This is what we are after. Sadly, I can now why did I say sadly? That's such a weird thing to... Oh, sadly I can make it better. Happily, I can rarefy it, and it was already rare, so always use that on it, and now we do 120% close-up damage. This is one out of only 2 things you need to find to bring this build online, and only finding 2 things over the course of an entire run is incredibly consistent. So we grab Flutter Strike, and now we're already kind of there. Look at the sheer damage that this will do now. We're already up to 240 when we hit, and outside of that, the actual raw damage you will do from your attacks on top of it is kind of silly. And even though we are going to be focusing on the special of the Omega attack here, your raw just pure damage because of Flutter Strike is ridiculous on this weapon on top of backstabs, and that just carries you massively throughout the run as well as you go forth, as you see just how much it instantly shreds. Though if you are aware of the hammer upgrades that are available to this weapon, you will probably have an idea of where this is going, but like, it's just insane the sheer strength you get from just literally using this weapon with the backstab aspect and getting a good Flutter Strike. You're absolutely on your way. Oh, here we are with a Hestia boon then that actually solves another thing that you kind of need to solve throughout the night, and that is magic restoration. You need to get a magic restoration, but well, you don't need to. The 2 is kind of enough, but not really. So ideally, you want to get your magic restore of choice. This one I actually quite like because you can afford to lose the health because the build is so strong, and 7 every second for free is actually quite good. Especially right now when it only costs 10, because that's basically you just get it back a second after using it, the extra 2 from the cards, and then we only need 1 more. So that makes it very, very, very consistent, and as you see, there we go. And we do have a Chaos in this room too, and of course Chaos boons are incredibly powerful at the cost of dealing with the curse for a while, but there is one in particular that if you do get lucky and get offered, it is exceptionally worthwhile to do so. So we will head down and have a look. Don't worry, of course, I will just go through a definitive list of ideal boons you're looking for, so it's all in one place. You don't have to just kind of follow this example run that we're doing, but it is nice to kind of see it happen in the form of consistency. So ideally, oh, there we go. We actually immediately got it. We want rejected strikes. So we take this curse, in this case 1 fewer option for boons, and then we just get, okay, plus 68% damage to the attacks that we're using the entire run. That is absolutely perfect, and onwards we go. Whenever you do get the opportunity to upgrade a power in this run, especially the big palm that lets you choose, you do want to take it, because if you do get Flutter Strike upgraded, especially now with the epic one, that's an extra 25% damage immediately acquired, which is obviously fantastic. I'm going to ignore the icy boon over there and then just move on to the boss, and all I have is the base blades, the backstab aspect, Flutter Strike, and some mana regen. So you'll see how much it just immediately shreds Hecate here. Alright, the slow-mo is just so nice, because you just can so consistently spam it, and the damage output at this stage is just kind of absolutely nutty. So she's already at the first break phase. I mean, it's just kind of... probably even a little bit overtuned. I would say the raw combination of just use these blades and get Flutter Strike, but it's not even the half of it that we are going for here. Get her down as fast as possible, and as you see, we just want to abuse the power of that Omega attack. Oh, and if you are wondering, the way to not be sheet cursed is to just kind of dodge back and forward through it, even though in doing so there, for that example, I kind of got absolutely battered by the balls, but hey, it's a little bit of a tip for you. Alright, so we have finally been offered a hammer, which was ridiculously late in the run. I have been playing insanely recklessly just to get to it, so I can hopefully show you the correct choice come up. So, we've got Flutter Strike, we accept the hammer, and... that's very, very unlucky. Basically, though, you want to take any given Daedalus Hammer upgrade that is related to your Omega attack. So in this case, we would have to choose Escalating Ambush, but it is the weakest of the three options that we are looking for. I will at least show you what you are aiming for, and given that you get 3 hammers on average per run, you're still very, very likely to get it, which is kind of the point. So the first and most important that we are after is this, Explosive Ambush. Not only does this make your Omega attack do 400% more damage, which of course stacking with Flutter Strike and any other damage increase you have is nuts, but it makes it a big AoE, so you just one-shot clear huge groups of enemies through rooms while also chunking bosses. You basically get Flutter Strike, Explosive Ambush, and a source of mana regen, and you have beat Kronos. That's how simple it is, as long as, you know, you don't throw your life away and stand in stuff you shouldn't stand in. After that, then, the other one that you are ideally looking for from the hammer is Skulking Slice, an extra 200% damage from backstabs, which, yes, as we've seen, you can force to happen with the Omega attack, so, yeah, that adds on top. So this run here is my first Kronos run after working and formulating this build and smoothing out getting it to happen, and as you can see, well, I have an extra 20% backstab damage from the Aspect, 180% from the level 7 Rare Flutter, that's 200% damage. My mana regen is a kind of weak one in Glamagain, but at least I found one and it was enough. Chaos, thankfully, has given me an extra little bit of damage in the form of 58%, let's call that 60, so that's 260. Artemis with the 3% crit chance, so yeah, if you get a crit on the Omega attack, my god. Then the extra 200% backstab, that is 460. The extra 400% from the explosion is your 860% damage on every Omega attack, on top of everything else that we've gotten throughout the run. You see why it's so ridiculously good, and that is your aim, that is what you're going for, and it makes things very, very smooth. So, essentially, as I said, Flutter Strike from Aphrodite, force it with her keepsake, hope that one of your 3 hammers is the extra 400% damage and AoE, get some mana regen, and you are sailing. Everything else on top of that is just a bonus, and will make it even easier, but honestly, really isn't necessary, and you can see just the sheer amount of damage done to Kronos in such a nice, safe way. I hope that this has helped and given you some sort of thing to aim for, as I realize getting that first successful run can be quite brutal, and now that I've got it, I'm just going to play all of the various weapons and try and make silly builds happen, and, you know, just have fun. Beating Kronos really, and indeed Hades in the first game, really felt like a, oh, alright, now I can play the game. So hopefully this gets you guys there as well. For now then, let me know what your strongest setups have ended up being so far. Like if you enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more. Consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below. Until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.